chasers. Oh, you can't even see you, can you? Get clear back there. I'll do it. You drive. All right, you guys. Different kind of experience we're going to be going to tonight. Instead of bourbon whiskey, we are going to be trying. This is your cue.
Irish whiskey.
Yes.
With an American blend.
With American blend. Yeah.
Twist.
American blend twist. Just
Well,
American
one of
twist.
them was Irish and bourbon, so.
Oh, okay. There we go. So we're headed to a restaurant called The Legends at the University of Notre Dame's campus. And we are going to meet, dun, 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 the master distiller of Irish... Shoot.
Brian Nash.
Brian Nation is the master distiller of... Hold on a second. I just totally screwed that up. Keeper's Heart. We are going to go try some whiskeys, some Irish whiskeys tonight with some special small food pairings. So we are going to meet Brian Nation, the master distiller of Keeper's Heart.
Keeper's Heart.
Yes.
Which is in St. Paul, Minnesota, I believe.
Okay, we're going to find out some more. But anyways, I believe, we'll double check, but I believe Brian actually is a Notre Dame alum. So we're going to ask him the questions, if that is true.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are on our way. Okay, go right. Going to the stadium. Brr. Brr.
So we made it here to Legends, at least their little event center inside Legends. The other side is the restaurant. And we just got done talking with Frank. And I don't know what Frank's position here is with.
That's right. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And Brian.
And Brian. Oh. And here's the person we really wanted to see.
Oh, yummy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love it.
And now we get both of them. Oh,
Yeah.
I have to
Wait,
give
one's
one back.
mine. Yeah. Oh, that smells so good. Cinnamon.
Oh, that's a good cocktail. Right up my alley. Definitely on the Christmas spices.
Dang, that is so good.
I was surprised he was just coming in just for this event.
Anyway, let's go.
All right.
Can you hear me clearly without the mic?
Yeah. Sound a bit Irish.
Small bit, yeah. The mic isn't going to change that, though, I promise. So, first of all, thanks everybody for coming here tonight to this Keeper's Heart event. My name is Brian Nation, and I'm Master Distiller of Keeper's Heart, which our whiskies are blended and produced out of O'Shaughnessy Distilling Company in Minneapolis. My background is that I was born and raised in Minneapolis. Ever since I was a child, you know, you can tell by the accent I'm from Minneapolis. No, I'm not. I was born and raised in Cork in Ireland. I was fortunate enough, my background is chemical and process engineering, and I actually graduated from college, worked in where I expected I would have worked in a pharmaceutical plant or an oil refinery, did a little bit of it, but then found that I wasn't really enjoying it that much, and got an opportunity to go and join a company called Irish Distillers, which were producers of Jameson, Redbreast, Middleton, Spot Range, Powers, all basically 85 to 88% of the world's Irish whiskey. I joined it as an environmental engineer, and then I moved into project engineering, moved into production, and during that period of time, I suppose, I got to kind of realize I had a good sense of taste and smell. I loved the process of whiskey making, and I was fortunate enough that when I went into production, I started working alongside the then master distiller Barry Crockett, who had been master distiller for over 40 years at the distillery, and his father Max was master distiller for previous 40 years. So timing was good. Barry was close to retirement, and I ultimately took over as master distiller for all of those brands in 2013. And I suppose the expectation was, you know, this guy is going to retire out of that job. That's a job when you join Irish Distillers. It's such a great company to work for, great family environment. You know, it's really something that people very, very rarely retire out of. And I think that would have been my expectation as well, because I was very happy in doing what I did. I loved Irish whiskey. I loved the whole story behind everything that we did at Middleton. So really, really passionate about it. But that was before I met a guy called Patrick O'Shaughnessy. Patrick O'Shaughnessy reached out to me through LinkedIn, right? And that was, you know, in the role that I was in, you would have got a number of LinkedIn messages over the years saying, would you be interested in this project or that project? And I normally kind of don't react to them, but this time I did. And I responded in saying, look, not interested in looking for a job or anything like that, but if you want to have a chat, happy to do so. So 4 days went by and the guy never responded to me, but after about 5 days he came back and said, oh, you want to talk to me, here's my number. And I kind of go, Jesus, that's not the way this works at all. Like, you reached out to me. So I went back and I said, hey buddy, you reached out to me, if you want to talk to me, here's my number. So once we got through the online flirting, we basically decided to have a phone call. And I always remember the day I was having a phone call. I said to my wife, you know, look, I'm just having a call with this guy from America. And she went on almost like a rant to say, what do you mean you're talking to this guy about in America? She said, you're never going to leave Irish Distillers. You're married to the job. You spend more time in Irish Distillers than you do at home with the kids. You'll be carried out of Middleton in a box. And I'm kind of going, Jesus Christ, it's just a phone call. Like, give me a break. So anyway, I had the phone call. Again, expectations, phone call might be 20 minutes, kind of niceties, and then we'd all go on our merry way. This guy, when he came on the call, his passion was so you could feel it so much about his whole idea around Irish and American whiskey. So we had a call, ended up the call by saying, look, you know, not really going to do this. If there's anything you want me to help you with in terms of that wouldn't be in conflict with my normal role, I'll be sure to help you out. He said, I'll be in Ireland in 3 months, will you come meet me? I said, I will. And we hung up. Came downstairs, 20 minutes later, a text message, I'm going to be in Ireland in 2 days and I'm bringing 2 of our investors with us. So that kind of gave me a bit of a shudder, kind of going, oh Jesus. My wife's reaction was, oh my God, you're after leading this guy on. And I go, how do I lead him on? I just had a phone call. 20 minutes later, will you bring your wife to the dinner? So I then had to go and explain that to my wife, which she's a lovely lady, but she'll tell you exactly what she feels. And she didn't want to go, obviously. But after a bit of cajoling, I got her to come. And 2 days later, we met them. And expectations again were very short. Just go in, have a bit of dinner and leave. 5.5 hours later, we're still there. Never spoke about whiskey, just spoke about life, just spoke about family. And ultimately there was, and I know it sounds so cliched, an instant connection, but there genuinely was an instant connection. So we left that room, as I said, hadn't spoke about whiskey, and my wife got into the car and she said, if we had no kids in the morning, I would move to Minneapolis. I had no idea where Minneapolis was, to be quite honest, because I'm geographically thick. And basically I said, well, you know, we do have a problem, we have kids, we can't just leave them there. So continued to have a conversation with the O'Shaughnessy's, and then ultimately we went and visited Minneapolis on the 1st of January 2020. And for those of you who've been to Minneapolis in January in any year, it's normally quite cold. When I got there, we got there, it was actually okay. It was about 39, 40 degrees. There was no snow. It didn't snow. There was beautiful sunshine. There was snow on the ground. And the O'Shaughnessy's kind of said, it's like this all of the time. They feckin' lied, because I've been through about 4 winters now at this stage, and my God, it's horrendous, to be quite honest. But it's a lovely city in the summer. Just don't come in the winter. But basically, we went and looked and see what could we do. Would we bring? Is this a place we would live in? Bring our kids? What schools do they go to? And we came away from that with the decision that this is something we were going to try. That was January 2020. We all know what happens in March 2020. The whole world changes. And we had kind of made our decision at that stage that this was definitely going to happen. So we held tough, and we ultimately, I left Irish Distillers on the 2nd of July 2020. People thought I was going through a midlife crisis, because it was in the middle of a pandemic. It was giving up the best job in terms of whiskey in Ireland, and people really thought this guy has lost the plot. And maybe for a minute I thought I'd lost the plot the day I did give up, because you know, you kind of so many years of emotion, because I'd spent 23 years there, more than half my life at that time. And but did it and never looked back ever since. And in August 2021 we moved here as a family, and I was just telling some of the people here now tonight that my daughter loves it so much that she's actually, after becoming signing up to go to university in the US instead of going back to Ireland to go to university. So it's turned out to be very, very successful for us. So what do we do at O'Shaughnessy Distilling? We kind of do things, we're trying to bring the best of Irish and American whiskey making traditions together, and we're doing it in 2 ways. One is through blending Irish and American whiskey together. So we source Irish whiskey, 4-year-old grain whiskey and 4-year-old pot still from Great Northern Distillery in Ireland. And then we also source 4-year-old rye and 4-year-old bourbon from MGP in Indiana. And basically what we do is we bring those components to our distillery and we blend them at the distillery, and these are the whiskies that you're going to actually taste later on today. So this one, and this one. This is 100% Irish, and I'll talk about later on as well. So they're the whiskies that we have currently. And I suppose when you look at what we did initially, these were whiskies that we wanted to release in order to, first of all, to kind of cash flow the business. Because you know, when you're building a distillery and when you're building distillates, and you're not having anything out in the market, you do need to have some way of getting an income. Some people decide to bring out a vodka or a gin. Some people decide to do a beer alongside their whiskey development. But we decided that we would source whiskey, blend it, and send it out. This has turned out to be very, very successful for us, because this was awarded the most awarded new whiskey of 2022. And these whiskies this was awarded as the world's best Irish whiskey in 2023 by the San Francisco International Spirits Competition. This was put in the top 10 for world's best bourbons. So there's a lot of accolades that we're after achieving over time with these whiskies. And you know, with all of the awards that we get, the one thing that we just want to be cognizant of, and the biggest award for us, is people actually enjoying our whiskies. It's not about, okay, you like the idea of getting awards, but the biggest reward is actually seeing people drink our whiskey neat or in cocktails. And then what we're also doing is we're producing American whiskey in the Irish style of triple copper pot distillation. So we've taken that quintessential Irish style of distillation and we've transferred it to American whiskey. So we're actually making an American pot still, which is using that quintessential Irish style of malted barley and non-malted barley, We're distilling it 3 times in pot stills, and then we're Americanizing it by maturing it in virgin American oak barrels. That's actually due to be released in Q4 of 2025. We'll do it in Minneapolis or Minnesota, and then in 2026 we'll release it wider field. We're also producing a triple pot distilled rye, and that's going to be released most likely in Q4 of 2026. And then we're doing a triple pot distilled bourbon, which will be released in Q4 of 2027 or Q3 of 2027. So these are true American whiskies, the rye and the bourbon, but they taste unlike any other rye or bourbon that you would taste in the market today, simply because of the triple pot distillation. It really does have a complete different impact on the quality of the distillate, and ultimately giving you a different taste profile that's actually carried through in the maturation process. So it really is exciting to see these whiskies develop. Any questions so far? Yeah.
I bought out every bottle of Keeper's Heart the day it showed up in South Bend.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you can thank Steve Rowe for that.
Oh yeah.
Quick question. I've been a rye drinker my whole life, and an Irish drinker my whole life. I was expecting the bottle here left there to be a little bit sweeter, because Irish generally is sweet and rye is generally sweet. It does not have a sweet profile.
Yeah, I think, and as we go through the tasting of it, we'll talk a little bit more about it. But there is, when you talk about Irish whiskey, right? A lot of the sweetness from Irish whiskey comes from the amount of grain whiskey that's included in it, right? Pot still whiskey tends to have more of a herbal, earthy kind of note, and it's the grain whiskey that adds the sweetness. When we brought this together, we only use a tiny amount of grain whiskey. It's mainly pot still whiskey and rye whiskey. So that's why you don't get that same level of sweetness.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, I just want to let everybody know, when my buddy says his whole life, he means after he was 12. Thank you. It was at least 15.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll talk through each of the whiskies, and look, if there's any questions as we go through them, just shout out and let me know. So the first whiskey we're going to taste is the Irish+American. This is a blend of Irish pot still whiskey, Irish grain whiskey, and American rye. So it's the first time you get to taste the richness of an Irish pot still coupled with the spiciness of an American rye. And when we were putting the whiskies together, we gave ourselves 3 objectives. Number 1, create a great tasting whiskey, a bit of a no-brainer. Number 2 is, when you're putting a whiskey together and you're blending it with different components, to ensure that each of the components delivers something to the overall whiskey. And then number 3 is versatility. Gone is the day where people just drink their whiskey neat or on the rocks now. That whole whiskey landscape, the whole demographic of whiskey has changed completely in the last 15, 20 years. And people want to experiment more with whiskey. So if you want to be a successful brand nowadays, your whiskey needs to taste great neat, on the rocks, but also taste good in cocktails. And I think that's something that we have achieved as we go through these whiskies. So take up your whiskey glass if you haven't drank it already, listening to me, which I tend to talk a lot, and nose the whiskey. So have a nose off the whiskey just to get the initial characters that are coming from it. And for me, what I tend to get is I get a nice little bit kick of rice spice, but it's quickly followed by the herbal earthiness of the Irish pot still. Now have a taste. I love the mouthfeel of this whiskey because with this whiskey you've got a beautiful combination of the creaminess of pot still coupled with the syrupiness of the rye. And you've got this layering of spices on all of the fruits, the orchard fruits of the pot still, the tropical fruits of the rye, and it gives this extra level of confectionery sweetness, almost like candied ginger. So it's a very, very easy whiskey to actually taste and sip. And then it also works exceptionally well in cocktails, particularly the old-fashioned. And that was one of the drinks that your welcome drink here tonight was an old-fashioned, the Legends old-fashioned made with Keeper's Heart Irish+American.
That's quite good.
Any questions? Now the chef has done a pairing food with the with the Irish+American, and it's a smoked walleye dip. So that's the first course that you got, or the first appetizer that you got. Just try the dip with it and see what you think.
Second or first?
When I started putting this whiskey together, I had to do it in Ireland because it was COVID. You couldn't actually, I couldn't travel. So one of the things I had to do was get American whiskey into Ireland. And not that I've ever done it, but I'd say it would have been easier to bring cocaine into Ireland than to bring American whiskey, because it kept on being rejected. It kept on being returned or destroyed or whatever, until I started bringing olive oil into Ireland, and that turned out to be very successful.
Right.
So it started with between 130 and 140 different iterations before we finally landed on this final blend. And that was because bringing Postel and rye, or bringing Postel and bourbon together for the first time, it wasn't just about deciding, oh, I'm just going to do this and this. It was trying to get that extra dimension and to get a balance of flavors that gave you an extra dimension of flavor, taste and mouthfeel and complexity. So it took a while to get it right, but I think that once we got it right, it does give you that extra dimension of flavor that you wouldn't get with 100% Irish or 100% American whiskey. Any questions?
It's got a nice heat for 86 proof.
Yeah,
Nice finish.
it absolutely does, yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
What was the second one she brought around? Is it
So the
bourbon?
second one-
Is it the bourbon?
Yeah, the second whiskey that you've got is the Irish+Bourbon. So, whereas the Irish+American is more Irish whiskey forward, the Irish+Bourbon is more American whiskey forward. And that was intentional because we wanted to use this as a gateway for American whiskey drinkers to try and convince them to move across to this style of whiskey. Big issue with American whiskey drinkers, particularly bourbon whiskey drinkers, is they're very loyal to their bourbon and don't want to move away from that style or that taste. But we kind of tricked them here because you initially get all of that bourbon influence, but then it's only as you get to the mid palate of the whiskey that that the Irish whiskey comes alive, and it brings this almost unexpected surprise of flavour, and it carries on all the way through to the end, to the finish as well. Have you all got a sample of it? I don't.
Oh, no.
Thanks.
You got it.
So when you nose the whiskey, this is what I actually love about this bourbon as well. The bourbon component that came from MVP, it actually has a nice high rye content in the mash bill. It has got 21% rye grain in it. And what I love about that is that, you know, the pepperiness you get with a bourbon, I think that's been complemented by some of that spice coming from the rye whiskey as well, or the rye grain as well. Thanks a minute. And I think it works very, very well in this blend. So when you nose the whiskey, for me, you get a lot of that, what you expect with bourbon. You're getting that corn sweetness, you're getting that lovely kind of charred oak element. You're getting even a hint for me of you're getting almost like a sugary vanilla sweet type note coming through. Now have a taste. So there's not much, if any, influence of Irish at this stage. Now take a taste. First of all, I love that mouthfeel because I think some of the creaminess of the Postel does come to life in the mouthfeel. But now you've got some of that herbal earthiness coming to life as well in the mid palate. So instead of just having what you expect on the nose to follow through on the taste, you've got this additional flavour that you wouldn't have expected. And that's carrying on, and it's almost giving an elongated finish to the whiskey, but it's also bringing a beautiful barley cereal note to the finish, as well as that charred oak finish, that toasted wood. It's at 92 proof, which, you know, it's not too high, but it's high-ish compared to other whiskies. And what I like about it is that the Irish whiskey allows that high proof not to have too much of a burn or bite. And you'll get to see that more in the cask strength version of the Irish+Bourbon later on. Any questions? The food that was being used to pair with the Irish+Bourbon is the pork belly burnt ends. Can't wait to try it. So this is advised to go very well with the Irish+Bourbon.
Chicharrones are yummy.
How many people here prefer their whiskey neat? So almost 50-50 of cocktail and not.
How many people here are Catholic and can't eat pork belly today?
This is a safe place. Thanks for reminding me.
Jesus loves you. Jesus
How
loves
many
you. There's
people?
one heaven.
How many people just
More
forgot
than
that?
Catholics in there. You know.
That's funny.
Now you've just made me feel bad because I just realised that today is Friday.
I almost feel bad. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
And so I've already established that I'm pretty committed to the brand. So I want to take you back to your other ancestry roots job. Middleton, smooth. One of the things I said to Steve and cousin O'Shaughnessy was, how do we get in Keeper's Heart to something that's got that yellow spot, green spot, Middleton smoothness that I haven't yet tasted in Keeper's Heart. I've tasted all of those. I'm not getting that yellow spot, green spot, Middleton smoothness yet.
Have you tried the 21-year-old?
No, when you bring it out, we will.
You mean with all your contacts you haven't tried the gin?
All right, with all my
I'm very
contacts,
disappointed.
I probably did at that tailgate he brought it to, but it was probably a little late in the game.
I think when you talk about Middleton very rare, right?
Yeah.
It's a very interesting question because if you look at earlier Middleton Very Rare, so Middleton Very Rare started out in 1984, and what it did was it took all of the new whiskies from the new distillery, which started in 1975. So you were getting blends from all of that. So it wouldn't have been as smooth or as it is now.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is down to age. A lot of that is down to the distilling process as well, in terms of this whiskey has a combination of both Irish and American. So additional smoothness comes from the fact of triple distillation. Having a blend of both something that's triple distilled and having something that is single or double distilled will not give you the same level of smoothness as you would have with a totally triple distilled product. So I think it's a combination of the process, and I think it's a combination of time that will give you that extra level of smoothness.
What do you, as a distiller, what do you want? I mean, the profile you want, I taste the character in it, so I think I have a sense for what you're chasing. But when you look at who you're trying to steal share from, are you trying to steal, I mean, technically there's, Irish, there's rye, there's, bourbon. When you look at brands, who are you trying to take loyalty from?
It's something that is like we don't look at ourselves as competitors of Jameson, for instance, right? We don't look at ourselves as competitors of Jack Daniels. What we see ourselves is a kind of a new style of whiskey that we're hoping to be able to pull from categories like, we'll say, even Teeling whiskey, something like Slane whiskey, smaller brands that are offering just the Irish element of it. We're looking at kind of giving the best, as we say, the best of both worlds. So we're looking to take on smaller American whiskey brands and smaller Irish whiskey brands. If we take Tullamore Dew brands drinkers or Jameson drinkers along the way, all the better for us. But we don't see ourselves as, being at this size that we are of actually being a Jameson competitor, because from even on a price point of view and on a scale point of view, there's no comparison.
Yeah, I get it. Perfect.
Any other questions?
That's a good question.
No? So the next whiskey that we're going to taste is the 10-year-old, right? So now we're going to confuse you a little bit more in that we're moving away from Irish+American. This is just 100% Irish whiskey. This is whiskey that we sourced through Great Northern Distillery, but it's actually old Cooley Distillery stock. And it's a 10-year-old single malt. And that whiskey on its own, it's a beautiful style malt from Cooley Distillery. It's got that old style malt whiskey, thanks. And it has beautiful malty, biscuity, cereal characters that you get with a good old malt. But for me, sometimes malt can be a little bit drier in the palate compared to pot still whiskey. So in order to bring a little bit of texture to it, I actually finished it in Malaga wine barrels, which is a sweet Spanish dessert wine. And I only did it for between 3 and 4 months to try and get a level of honey-like texture to the mouthfeel, but it also added some lovely honey sweetness, apricot, stone fruit and almond nutty flavours on top of that beautiful cereal biscuity note that I spoke about earlier. This, as I said, last year was voted world's best Irish whiskey, actually for 2023 by the San Francisco International Spirits Competition. Which for us, you know, when you get an award like that, you do want to talk about it because it's quite special, especially when it wasn't even available in Ireland when we got it, but a few weeks later it became available in Ireland then. So, when you nose this whiskey, it's completely different to the other two whiskies that you've tasted. This is now a very kind of Irish, even some people would consider even close to a Scotch style.
Yeah.
But you've got a beautiful malty character coming through on the nose. But you're also getting some of that honey sweetness and almond nuttiness from the actual barrel, the Malaga wine barrel as well. Now have a taste. I love the honey-like sweetness and texture it's brought to the mouthfeel. And there's so much going on because that apricot stone fruit is there, the almond nuttiness is there, you've got the biscuity cereal characteristics, you've even got some caramelized sugar that for me is almost giving it's like burnt sugar, it's almost giving like a smokiness to it at the end. And that's all coming from the finishing in the Malaga wine barrel. Any questions on that one?
So do you have any plans on then with your Keeper's Heart to finish in other types of barrels? I mean, that's really big right now in bourbon, finishing in XYZ wood finishes.
One of the things that we've done with Keeper's Heart, particularly Keeper's Heart Irish+American, but I've also done some of it with the Irish+Bourbon, is we've done a number of different finishes in different barrels. So we take the blend and we take it at cask strength and then put it into some finishing barrels. So we've done them as special one-offs for liquor stores or for clubs or whatever. We probably did too many of them in the first year or two because what actually happened was they cannibalized the sale of our core. And we didn't want to be, one of the big things that I wanted to make sure is that we're not like nutty professors just not standing for any particular style. This is our core. That we want to grow from a value and volume perspective. Then when we bring out our self-distilled, that's going to be another, it's going to be a step higher in price, but that's another, we call that core premium for us. So doing the single barrels was great, but as long as you do them in a restricted level. What turned out brilliant for us were stout barrels. In fact, Roars here at the Morris Inn actually did a stout barrel finish with us. We also did some maple syrup finishes. We've also done some wine like Madeira, Sauterne, Cab Sauv. So we've done a lot of different finishes, and each of them have their own different kind of benefits. But what was always important for me was that the DNA of Keeper's Heart was still alive and that they didn't overtake the flavour. And that was why maple syrup was a big concern for me at the start, because I have tasted some maple syrup finished whiskies and they're just over the top in terms of maple syrup. But the ones that we did was we kind of controlled the length of time that they were in the barrel to make sure you got all of that contribution of kind of creme brulee and a lovely syrupy nature to the mouthfeel, but it didn't turn out to be just like a liqueur. And it became one of our biggest selling single barrels actually was maple syrup. And then we've gone into doing rum. We've gone into doing ice cider, and as I keep on saying, we've yet to try a finish on Keeper's Heart Irish+American that doesn't work, and we're trying hard. So we'll see how it goes.
Cool.
Any other questions? By the way, the food that was given here for the pairing with the Irish single malt was a smoked mushroom flatbread. It's great, I get to eat while I'm talking.
That's great.
So the last whiskey that we're going to try
Have you heard of Malaga?
is actually the Keeper's Heart Irish+American or Irish+Bourbon cask strength. And what's brilliant about this is that we just simply described this one. This is the Americano, which is the 92 proof, and this is the espresso. Because it's exactly the same blend. It's just at a higher proof. It's cask strength. It's at 118, so 118 proof. What's great about it is that it does show that the proof of the whiskey does ultimately alter the flavour as well. Because when you compare the two of them together, it's like nosing two different style whiskies, even though the blend is exactly the same. And I think that's a great way to showcase the impact of higher proof. I think one of the benefits of the Irish influence on this cask strength version as well is that it doesn't drink like 118 proof.
Oh, great.
I always describe it as dangerously good, in that you'd want to be standing up if you're having a few of them, because if you're sitting down and you get up, you'll only know after you get up that you had them. And that might not be a great ending to your evening.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
So is the higher proof coming from the bourbon side or the Irish side?
It's actually coming from a combination of both, because the proof of the bourbon, that is 100, when it goes into barrel it's about 120 proof. When the pot still goes into barrel it's 123, and when the grain whiskey goes into barrel it's 138. So it's the combination of the three of them that's actually bringing that proof to 118, because of the drop in proofs between the lot of them. And I think that's great, because it's not just relying on one of them delivering the high proof. Thank you very much.
Nice.
Thought about me this time.
Yeah, be hot enough.
So, like, even when you nose it, and if you have any of the bourbon left, just go back to the Irish+Bourbon. Like, it is different. You've got a lot more sweetness in the cask strength version than you have even on the
You spoil it.
92 proof.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Have a taste.
This smells delicious. You got this.
You see what I mean about it not drinking like 118 proof? It has a nice warming impact, but it doesn't have the same burning impact that you could get with some other higher proof whiskey. And that's down to the use of the Irish whiskey in the blend, because the Irish whiskey maintains all of the flavour of both the bourbon and the pot still, but it just brings a nice little mellowiness of the burn down from the bourbon itself. And I love that impact that you're getting with the use of Irish+American whiskey. We actually do a 110 proof version of this, the Irish+American, and it's the same thing. You do not realise it that that you're drinking 110 proof because of the influence of the Irish.
That's very good. Nice.
I like that.
Yeah.
Any questions? The dessert that you're getting alongside that is petite apple hand pie with an Irish cheddar butter crust.
That sounds delicious.
With some salted caramel sauce.
They had me at caramel.
You have any caramel? Yum. Oh.
It's really good. There's definitely a taste of more off that apple pie in here.
Now going forward, you're sourcing things now. Are you planning on going 100% your own stocks?
No, not necessarily in that. We're going, obviously our self-distilled is going to be released as whiskies on their own. So we'll be releasing that single pot still, the triple pot still rye and the triple pot still bourbon. We have no plans at this moment in time to start replacing out the source components here with those whiskies. We also have the capability of producing a column distilled rye and a column distilled bourbon at our distillery as well. And we have laid down stocks of that, and it's actually really, really good in terms of flavor profile, in terms of quality. But again, at the moment we're saying we're going to stick with our relationship with MGP. We have the relationship with Great Northern Distillery, and we want to keep those relationships going.
That's awesome.
Any other questions?
Yeah, knowing that water is such a significant factor, did you see a big difference in the water? Did you have to do anything
You know,
to kind of prep that?
water, the impact of water nowadays compared to, we'll say, historical days when you were building a distillery in years gone by, the difference now is that you can, as long as you've got a good clean source of water, you can do anything you want with that water in terms of mineral content because of all the advances in technology. We were very lucky that the water source that we have is coming from a limestone source which has good mineral content for brewing, and it's the same water source that Surly Brewing are taking their water from as well. So we've got a good aquifer underneath us to be able to do that. One of the things that you have to realize is that we're also doing a triple distillation process. So the actual flavor, we'll call it the water flavor itself, you're moving further and further away from the impact of the water flavor when you're actually going to a triple distillation process. But nowadays you can make your water, if you wanted to have a peat element in your water, you could actually manipulate the water through a system to actually get a peaty note in it if you wanted to. So it really doesn't matter nowadays as long as you've got a good clean source of water. That's the way I would see that.
Yeah. That's really good.
Any other questions, guys? No? Well, I hope you enjoyed this short tasting. I hope you enjoyed the food. And what I would like to get is a kind of a show of hands as to your favorite whiskey of the night. So the first whiskey, hands up. Okay, 2. Second whiskey, 2. Third whiskey. Sure, you're all whiskey snobs because it's yeah. And then the last whiskey. Okay. That's interesting because, well, it's great because the way I look at it is that if everybody went for just one of the whiskies, then we shouldn't release the other 3. So it's always great to get a show of hands to see the numbers of people enjoying different styles of the whiskey that are there. Any other questions? Yeah?
I think what America needs is a Middleton, not at Middleton's price point. All right, because at the end of the day, these are all great and interesting, but there's a lot of stuff that can get you close to these. If a little bit of feedback for what it's worth, take everything you know about Middleton and give us a Middleton that's got a Keeper's Heart,
Keeper's Heart logo on it.
And a reasonable price. And I mean, and then tell Steve's cousin to crank up the distillery. Because, that is, I mean, Middleton's become outrageous, you know, and Red Breast.
Prices have
yeah,
gone up.
Red Breast is okay. It's interesting, but not great. The Yellow Spot and Green Spot, I mean, they're $125 a bottle, you know. When Angel's Envy Rye came out, which is, in my opinion, as good a liquor as there is on the market right now, aged in that barrel, I think if you take your aging process to a little longer, give those of us that want a sweeter, smoother profile, something that's got a little more to it than what you did, I think you'll get great reaction. But the guys in Ireland have gotten out of their minds with Middleton and Yellow Spot, Green Spot cost. And If
Yeah.
you can keep it under $100 and taste like Middleton, that's how you're going to get rich.
I think, look, I mean, in my mindset, the whiskey pricing has gone crazy, right? And the secondary market is driving a lot of that,
Sure.
right? Because it's becoming a collector's item as opposed to people enjoying it to drink. And one of the things that we were setting ourselves when we were releasing our whiskies was to try and make sure that the prices were accessible, not just at a liquor store, but also for the point of view of being able to use them in cocktails. Because if we were pricing these, like this is $29.99 in a store, and that's a very, very accessible price. But it also means that when it goes into a bar, it can be actually used in a regular house cocktail as opposed to it being a premium cocktail. And that's the same with even the Irish+Bourbon. Obviously, when you go to this and you go to the Cask, people will expect to pay more because it's Cask, but it's still very accessible. It's $49.
Yeah, your price points are good.
It's not. We had this based at $100, to be quite honest with you, and we actually brought the price down. We brought it down to $75 because we were saying, look, there were people who would pay $100 for it, there were people who weren't paying $100 for it. We said, look, let's get more people trying to taste it, and it became more accessible at $75. So I think you're right in that there's lots of people are looking for great quality whiskey at a price that's not gouging. And our kind of intent is in anything that we're doing at the distillery is try to do that. Obviously, when you come to the really, really rare bottles, like the 21-year-old that I'm speaking about, there's only 273 bottles of that. It's $1,000. We are going to release vintages of that year in, year out, and it does become a collector's item. But that there are a group of people that want that as well, so you have to cater for that as well. I really feel that, in terms of the whiskies that we're producing, the self-distilled whiskies that we're producing are actually going to be really, really good and will be really surprising to people on the market, and they will have a level of sweetness in it. They will have a level of smoothness in it.
I know where to get them.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. And if you don't like them, just don't tell anyone.
Okay.
Right? Any other questions? No? Well, thanks a million, guys. I hope you enjoyed the food too, because the food pairing was lovely. And just if you like our whiskies, ask for it in your bars, ask for it in your liquor stores. If they don't have it, ask why not. Tell them that you want it, and then you're becoming ambassadors for us as well. And that's obviously something that we would love, that all of you would walk away as ambassadors for Keeper's Heart. But even if a percentage of you walk away as ambassadors for Keeper's Heart, that would be absolutely great. So thanks a million. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate you coming to our whiskey pairing this evening. We do have bottles available for sale if anyone's interested. All of them have a special label for the Blue Gold game here at Legends, and Brian will happily sign bottles for you. We really appreciate you guys coming. If you have any other questions or are looking for any of our swag to grab or just want to chat a little bit more, we're here for a while. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to buy that. So you buy those too, and I'll get this one.
All right. Don't
You
go
two
away.
are bad.
All right. So we're getting all three.
All
Not
three.
the fourth one, but all three. And Brian's going to sign them. And this young lady is making it all happen.
I'm making it happen. I'm gonna go put it all together.
Nice.
Very excited.
Love it.
Make sure you guys get some stickers.
Some swag.
Got some stickers.
Great whiskies brought down.
Wanting to buy some bottles.
Yes. We're going to take all three.
Wow, thank you.
So he's gonna take all three of these.
Fantastic, thank you.
And we would definitely be ambassadors. We like spreading the gospel.
Well, you gotta come up and visit us, yeah?
Oh, we will definitely
Yeah.
come up.
Definitely come up and visit
Take
us.
it back to the box for you. I think I got one back there.
Ta-da!
We do have, my team actually went to go visit Brian at the distillery, and we picked a limited release barrel, and there's a case of it in Citywide downtown. So it's
there
PX
is.
Sherry cask
Okay.
aged.
Oh, I love that series.
Maybe that's where we need to go tonight. I love it.
That's great. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
Yeah.